Manchester United announced their new academy signing, and his name is getting a lot of people interested. Amorim will not be happy with the latest decision taken by Ineos ahead of the January window, because Amorim needs backing, Amorim needs midfielders, Amorim needs help. And I do think with this being one of the best opportunities we have to sneak a 5th place UCL spot finish when you see how bad the other teams have been this season, it'd be crazy not to act in January, because I think other clubs will. And I think with the 1 game a week we have, we should be better second half of the season due to fitness, but we should also act in January to take advantage of that. Benjamin Sesko set to be back versus Bournemouth. The real reason why Amorim does not rate Kobbie revealed, and what Amorim wants from Kobbie has been revealed. We're going to talk about his future and why it's looking bleak at United. It's looking like it's Kobbie or Amorim. Baleba has already picked Manchester United as his next club, is the feeling. And there's more debt at Manchester United that's been revealed. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, update, and roundup show, where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes for you guys. I hope you're all doing well, and let's dive into it. Before I dive into it, if you are new and you want to stay up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, every single day on the channel I do a 10-minute news update, so feel free to subscribe for that, feel free to hit that like button, and we're going to dive into our latest academy signing. Young English under 15-year-old talent Socrates Sokwa has signed for Manchester United. He's called Socrates, and he's got the number 10 top. Do you know what? I couldn't tell you a thing about this guy, but he looks like he's going to succeed. He's got the name of a player that's going to succeed. He's giving Brazilian vibes because of the Socrates. I tell you what, everybody's hyping this guy up now just because he's got a sick name and a sick number. So, look, I don't know how good he is, but our academy is good. So, yeah, let's dive into the next story. I don't know why I'm hitting the table. That's probably really annoying for you guys. I will stop doing that. Ruben Amorim will not be happy with no January signings. Ruben Amorim has told Ineos he wants January signings, he wants January investment. The thing that's been agreed upon is we'll bring in someone in January if it's a long-term signing. We don't want to be bringing in Weghorst type signings, which is fair. But I do think I think while you can't get Elliot Anderson in January, I do think if you really push for Baleba, you could get Baleba in January. Do I want him as much of a spawn? Probably not. But Ben Jacobs went on the United Stand YouTube channel today and said a lot of things. And one of the things he said is that Man United are not likely to do business in the January window unless a market opportunity presents itself. They're hoping to sign 2 elite midfielders in the summer. He's basically saying United are hoping to do their business in the summer. Unless there's someone available in January that United feel like is a good opportunity, they're not going to bother. And look, I'm not saying we should sign someone for the sake of it. I'm not saying drop 30 million on Conor Gallagher for the sake of it. I'm not saying drop 50 million on João Gomez for the sake of it. But what I am saying is if we really try and we really push, there is some players we can get in January. City signed Marmoush, Gonzalez, Reece last January. If you really want someone and you're willing to pay a bit of money, you can get them in the January window. And I feel like Manchester United, yet again, have decided, we won't do anything in January. I feel like Man United have basically decided we're not going to do anything in January because we can't get Anderson, we can't get this player, we can't get that player. Maybe Semenyo's made his mind up at Liverpool. But I just think really pushed, can you see if you could unsettle a Mainoo Kone, for example? Is there anyone out there we could push for? Because I think we need a midfielder. I think a left wing back would be quite key. I think if we really pushed, we could do some business. And Ruben Amorim wants signings. He's made it clear he wants a midfielder. He was let down in the summer. We didn't get Baleba and we didn't find any alternatives. And I guess that's Man United not panic buying. When they can't get the number 1, they're not panic buying another player. But I do think, we want 2 midfielders. Cool. But I think try and go for someone in the summer. Try and go for someone in January if you can. Try and make an offer for Elliot Anderson in January. Just try. Because I think, for me, to say we'll do it in the summer, no one's going to be available in January and just give it up, I don't think that's fair on Amorim. And Amorim won't be happy with that. Let's talk about Sesko. We've got a bit of a boost coming in here. Laurie Whitwell said on the Talk of the Devils podcast today, the aim has always been for Benjamin Sesko to be back against Bournemouth. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least in the squad for the game. Now, I don't expect Benjamin Sesko to start versus Bournemouth. I know Benjamin Sesko didn't train today, but there is a feeling that he could be back for the Bournemouth game and could be in the squad and could give 20 minutes off the bench. I think if he's not training, it seems less likely, but we don't play until Monday, I believe. So there is still time for Benjamin Sesko. And look, I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the squad. I would be shocked if he started, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the squad. And he's close to being back for United, which is good. One player that, maybe could get in the squad with all these players going to AFCON, maybe Bruno goes into the 10, Mainoo goes into the pivot, Kobbie. But let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo, because not only did they talk about Sesko on the Talk of the Devils podcast, but Andy Mitten said a few things about Kobbie Mainoo and Amorim's stance when he first came in. Andy Mitten on Mainoo and Amorim. When the manager first came in, I was told within a couple of weeks the line was put to me that Kobbie needs to do more to prove to the manager that he needs to be in the starting 11 and that he's not had a good year. Now, I think it would have been unfair to say Kobbie's not had a good year, because that year Kobbie had literally broke through, scored the winning goal in the FA Cup, and played in a Euros final and was man of the match in the semi-finals, then was injured, then had no pre-season and no rest after the Euros, and had a few iffy games under Ten Hag. I don't think you can call that a bad year. So I think that was unfair of Amorim there. Now, he's saying when the manager first came in, he was told within a couple of weeks that he wants more from Kobbie. I don't think Kobbie has been in his best form when he did play last season, and I think Kobbie hasn't done loads when he's gotten chances under Ruben Amorim. But we all know Kobbie Mainoo is a fantastic player, and considering how many more minutes Agati's played, what has Agati done to prove he's a better player than Mainoo? Zilch, absolute zilch. So Mainoo hasn't really rated Kobbie since he got in the door. Now, Ben Jacobs said something interesting to maybe why he doesn't rate Kobbie. One area that's being worked on with Mainoo is his ability to get into the right spaces and win the ball quickly. Amorim wants someone more physical who can go into beast mode, which we see from players like Anderson. He appreciates Mainoo's quality on the ball, but he wants a safety net midfielder who can either be in the right position to stop counter-attacks or have the pace to get the ball quickly. So basically, they're just saying that Kobbie doesn't have the physical attributes that Amorim wants in a midfielder, which is fine. We do need a physical midfielder. But you look at Youri Tielemans' performance versus Arsenal. Youri Tielemans is like Kobbie. He's technical, he's not physical. But he had Onana and Camara with him, so he could thrive. And Youri Tielemans was key to Villa's win over Arsenal. Youri Tielemans is key to Villa because of his quality on the ball. Pair Kobbie with someone physical. Kobbie's got the technicality. That will be key for breaking teams down, for being a better team. Pair him with someone physical. That's what I say. It looks like Ruben Amorim is, sort of doesn't rate Kobbie's physicality, and I think that's what costs him. Ruben Amorim wouldn't play Vitinha. Ruben Amorim probably wouldn't start João Neves. Ruben Amorim probably wouldn't start a lot of players based off that. He probably wouldn't start Pedri. In terms of his future, Andy Mitten said this, which was interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think it looks good for Mainoo. Man United are looking for two midfielders, and that will not be a thing. That will not be a two thing for Kobbie. I'm pretty bleak about the future for him as a Man United player. It feels like Kobbie's future is pretty bleak under Ruben Amorim. It really does. And that's a shame because, look, people are saying, oh, player power, don't pick Kobbie over Amorim. I'm not picking Kobbie over Amorim. I'm just saying that Kobbie's such a special talent. And I think for it to end potentially this way would be really sad. Look, I think if Amorim goes, Kobbie will get his place back. And I think we'll be playing in a midfield three that would suit him more. And I think he'll impress the next manager. But I have to say, the idea of Mainoo leaving is becoming more and more likely, and I honestly don't like it. Continue on into other news. Baleba, yes, but Anderson to pick City. I think that could happen. The feeling from within United is that Baleba will pick the club as his preferred destination. There's some optimism that he will say the same thing as Cunha and Mbeumo. Man United believe that Baleba will pick them. They're Balebas. We think Anderson might not. We think Anderson might pick Man City. We don't know who Warden's going to pick, but we're confident we're going to get Baleba. We want two of Baleba, Anderson, Wharton. We know we can probably get Baleba. It just depends on Brighton holding us hostage for the price. The one thing we want to know is, could we get Anderson or could we get Wharton? That's the one thing we want to know. And right now, I think Anderson wants City unless we get Champions League football. And I think getting Champions League football will be very, very important. And last but not least, well, actually probably is least, it was said by Chris Wheeler that breaking Manchester United's debt has now risen to the highest ever level of 750 million, or 749.2 million to be exact. And the club borrowed an additional 105 million from its credit facility. The debt from the Glazers takeover remains unchanged at 481 million. So even though the club has been run better, we're still in crazy amounts of depth. We're still not doing particularly well on the pitch. Yeah, it's not the best timing to be a Man United fan, is it? Anyway, people, I want to thank you all for tuning into today's 10-minute roundup show. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Baleba looks like he's picked us, but will we want him in the summer with his form drop-off? I don't know. I want Elliot Anderson. He's not picked us. The real reason behind Kobbie and Amorim's fallout and why Amorim might not be happy with Ineos. Thank you for watching. Bye.